Mr. Akhilesh Trivedi is founder and CEO of StartupCheers.com and also CEO of Anand Incubation Center. He is Masters in Management from Symbiosis and Bachelors of Technology from Bangalore University. He has mentored over 150 startups and conducted more than 1000 EDP sessions in field of biotech and entrepreneurship development. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. I hope I am reasonably audible to all. Honorable,
yes, sir.
Yeah, Honorable Chief Guest,
We can hear you.
Singh, respected COVI members, distinguished speakers, all dear audience, it's my great privilege to represent on the platform of COVI and SIDBI on this wonderful day of Women's Day and talk about some of the experiences, case studies, and stories from biotechnology domain. Let me share my screen. So I hope the screen is quite visible. I hope the screen is quite visible to all of you. Okay, great. Thank you very much. I will start this session, biotechnology, prospecting and projections or the business model, with two of the stories, highly inspirational stories in biotechnology domain. And one of the case we taken as a project. And in between, definitely, a lot of inputs and a lot of, project report development attributes which would help young entrepreneurs, scholars, especially women entrepreneurs, file their credentials or SIDBI Stand Up India scheme. To just introduce a conceptual format of biotechnology, the history of biotechnology is very interesting. It started from the ages of origin of life. We have done a lot during our schools, Darwin theory. But the major progression happened somewhere in 20th century, where most of the biotechnology was focused on food development technologies. Believe me, if in your kitchen, if you've been doing any bakery product, or even a bread, or even trying to experiment some yeast and curds, each one of you is actually by default a biotechnologist. In that century, most of the focus was converting some new products or bioproducts from living organisms, something like yeast and bacteria, and again emerging as a product of utility. Somewhere in 1970, interestingly, it has gone through into genetic engineering, where biotechnology and other related areas emerged more of like a backbone of end users applications, something like in medicines, in pharmacy, or more forward to agriculture, environment, and nature. Biotechnology has emerged more of a science of human. Biotechnology is actually from the existence of Earth, survival of human life, and more importantly, environment and nature sustainability. It plays a very vital and very invading role, directly, indirectly, by any means, to keep our health and happiness question always on upper side. In the last couple of months, I'm sure each one of us has experienced biotechnological strength to fight back this COVID-19 global pandemic. And believe me, 2021, if we are all here, it's all because of the kind of innovations and efforts from the biotechnologists and bio-entrepreneurs. So biotechnology is altogether dealing with human life. Biotechnology is something which can take the life to the next planet.
May I interrupt, Akhilesh? Can you volume? Can it be increased? Because slightly,
Okay.
you know.
Okay, the volume is fine now.
I think so. Better.
Okay, great. So biotechnology being the backbone of human life, and even tomorrow you find water or some origins of life in planet called Mars, Someone from the biotechnology only going to do the needful due diligence. This is what the beauty and strength of biotechnology. But entrepreneurship emerged from the bio entrepreneurs who are actually in process of developing variety of applications focused on human welfare and to develop some highly utility products and technologies that can bring improvements in human life on this earth. I'm sure in coming years, any of the pandemic or any of the disaster, biotechnology is going to be one of the biggest guard and shield to protect our life and on this earth. Progressively in recent years, this biotechnology has again divided into a couple of very productive categories, something like medicine, which takes care of pharmaceutical medicine innovations in form of vaccinations, food technology, agriculture, something like biofuels, biofertilizers, creating some bioproducts from waste, environment, nature, and most importantly, industrial, where paper or any of the textile material being developed from the biological waste material. Let me start this beautiful story, highly inspirational story of biotechnology of today's time in this era, the way especially women entrepreneurs are doing a wonderful job to bringing some improvements and sort of benefits to the human life. I'm sure this word called cancer has been again something, a disease which the entire world is fighting for. In India, almost 1 million cancer cases are reported every year. And out of that, 20 to 12% are the breast cancer in women. Unfortunately, it is very sad to show this black slot, 87,000 deaths reported every year. The survival rate is not more than 15 to 20%. The only reason the disease like cancer, we are not able to detect it in primary stage. The only cure or the only survival rate can be better if it is being detected in early stage. The test, whatever has been happening, are not actually the mark. It takes care of all ages of women or maybe all demographic conditions of the women. A startup from Bangalore called Niramai just incorporated 3 to 4 years back. They have come up one of the artificial intelligence based technology to detect early stage cancers, especially the breast cancer in women. And the technology is based on very simple principle, the thermodynamic principle. They take care of different temperature variations of the skin or the body of the women and try to detect the early stage cancer. This startup called Niramai already has got $1 million funding from different investors, but more importantly, what they have developed a highly economical solution for the rural women. It takes hardly 10 to 15 minutes. The results are highly accurate. It gives a complete pack of early stage cancer symptoms detection, which can increase the survival as well as the cure of the cancer. Founders Geeta and Nidhi Mathur have done this wonderful job. Let me share their achievements, their credential in form of a video clip of 2 minutes, and I'm sure this video clip is going to be eye-opener for all of us. The way they have used artificial intelligence, the way they have used the basic concept and tools of technology, devised into a particular equipment, and made this possible to cure and to detect this cancer in very early stage. Here is a video. Please buzz me if you're not able to see the visual or audio in between. I will be happy to rectify.
Hi, I'm Geeta, CEO and founder of Niramai Health Analytics, where we are developing a new way of detecting breast cancer. We just measure the temperature variations on the chest and analyze using software. So we say 4 things: no see, no touch, no pain, no radiation. And none of the tests today provide this. We are the only Indian startup listed on the top 100 AI startups in the world today. I was a computer scientist and a lab director at a multinational company. At that time, one of my cousin sisters, Bharti, got detected with breast cancer. She was just about 40 years or so, and it was suddenly a late stage detection, and the doctor said, a few more months to go. It was very shocking, and I started reading up about this disease and looking around what exists out there. as a technologist, when I was talking to my colleagues, I came to understand that there is a new imaging modality called thermal imaging. So I said, why not use this technology to try and see if we can detect early stage breast cancer in younger women. So we started researching in this area around 2015, and in about 1.5 to 2 years, I thought there are some early signs of success, and so I quit my job and started Niramai. 10-12 minutes of cool air, 2 minutes of imaging, and 2 minutes of reporting. The overall complete test is completed within 15 minutes. In rural areas, the cost of screening, because it is done by software, can be as low as 100 rupees per person. We have done this test in multiple cities and villages, urban areas, hospitals, corporate camps, and so on. So far, more than 32,000 women have benefited from this test. Our technology is not limited to just breast cancer. We look forward to partnering with the different clinical experts in this world.
That was a wonderful story. I had to trim this video because of the time constraint, but I'm sure this innovation by Geeta and Nidhi Mathur is going to open up a lot of horizons on biotechnology, and especially to fight back the disease like cancers, which can be detected in early stage, can really create huge impact on social empowerment and again on the survival rate of cancer patients. So this teaches us a lesson. Even though with limited resources, infrastructure, but with passion and to do something better, anyone can achieve the goals. Again, to just note down, Niramai startup has been rated world's top 100 artificial intelligence solution, and only one from India. Only one from India from artificial intelligence segment. Fantastic job done by these two women, and I'm sure it's going to talk about many more profitable biotechnology business ideas in coming years. Let me share another beautiful story. This story, which always pinches me also during my childhood days and my during engineering days. I used to see a lot of gases coming out of this nozzle of silencers of motorcycles and cars. We were actually made habitual to inhale it to our lungs, finally leading to allergies and asthma. A couple of guys in the Bangalore city again, they decided, can we do something better for this particular exhalation of gases from the automobiles? They cannot stop automobile to run on the roads, but at least something better can be done, which can save not only a lot of lives from the allergies and diseases, but again, save the environment and nature. What they've done it, they started making a effort to collect this particular smoke out of the nozzles of silencers of different vehicles, remove the heavy metals and carcinogens elements, purified carbon-based pigment, and finally they got a byproduct, amazing byproduct, something which no one actually imagined on the time, is something like ink and paint. So gases which is coming out of these nozzles can be converted in very simple biotechnological process into ink and paint. So normal ink, normal paints, which can be utilized in the color box of kids or even any of your normal pencils. And how it happened? It's more of like a revolutionary retrofit technology, creating paint and ink from the smoke which is going into the air and again to be inhaled by human beings. This particular black spot, a small black spot, is a real-time ink spot which is being collected and developed and made from 30 minutes of a car ride in Bangalore. Imagine thousands of cars being riding on the same road, and how much ink we can produce and save our environment and nature and going back to our this particular poisonous gases going back to our lungs. Let me share another 40 seconds of beautiful video, kind of technology they've been using, the way they are going ahead to make our lives better through this biotechnological process.
For the last 3 years, we have been getting our hands dirty on the roads of Bangalore to solve this problem. After we are done capturing air pollution, we take it through a purification process and then we treat it with solvents to create printing inks. we take something that's totally undesirable, ugly, and as bad as air pollution and turn it into something beautiful, something that everyone uses, as common as inks. So every stroke on paper that you make is essentially a quantification of that particulate matter you would have otherwise breathed in when you're walking outdoors.
So the next time, whenever you use a air ink, I'm sure every stroke, every signature you make on a paper is actually you're saving millions of people going into their lungs as a poisonous gas. And this is what something.
Akhilesh, actually, thoda voice, if it can be made the voice quality better, I'm getting messages.
Is it audible now? Because I put maximum volume.
Okay.
Is it audible now?
Okay. Thank you.
Is it audible? Perfectly
yes,
audible
yes.
now?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank
great,
you.
fantastic. These two stories do talk about whether different perception apart from business or a trading business. This actually talks about looking the challenges and opportunities, converting into business opportunities by simply think different. I'm sure think different makes a disruption altogether in this market. Right, and to getting into the project report, let me share a couple of things which are very much important. Validate your idea in terms of technical feasibility, financial viability, right timing, and correct marketing. But most importantly, what you need to write in the project report or even validation of idea is to make people understand what problem we are actually solving. So until unless there is a problem to be solved, until unless there is a solution which can be taken as a disruption to the social impact or something which you want to change something, it's very hard to sustain and scale your business. Pandemic has taught a lot of lessons. In fact, pandemic has taught a lesson. If change is not there, if not bringing a change in your business model, if you're dependent purely on one single segment of target audience or a product line, it's very hard to really sustain further. And I'm sure any good banker or investor like to see business model or a project report with good sustainability and scalability. Whenever next time any good entrepreneur in biotechnology want to validate their idea, please do look at what problem, how deep problem it is, how big problem it is. Maybe today it's a local problem, maybe a regional problem, but can it be a global problem tomorrow or not? And is there any social message or impact has to be there or not? These two things actually make any good project report or an idea scalable and sustainable for longer times. Bio-entrepreneurship has focused more into healthcare in today's time, and a lot of articles, devices, innovations being happening. Let me just list out few of them for your reference. Something like very common sensor-based sanitizer. A year back, no one actually had any attention towards the sanitizer market. But believe me again, a lot of startups and entrepreneurs have made very good money in developing herbal Ayurvedic sanitizers, and now sensor-based sanitizer where based on the curvature, the algorithm of your hand, the machine or the device used to spray the sanitizer, saving again the volumes of sanitizer and giving the effective mode of precaution on your hands. So suppose there is a kid, hands are very tender and very small, spray will be according to the based on the curvature of the hand. Same way, portable oxygen ventilators, very common when the COVID was almost on the peak side and hospitals are having a lot of a rush. It was in need actually came up to have a portable oxygen ventilator which can be used at the home or maybe on your non-hospital quarantine period. And this is where the new business horizon, new business opportunity came up for SME segment to develop portable oxygen ventilators in large amounts. Artificial intelligence and IoT-based health monitoring devices already very much popular to note down your pulse, your heart rate, your beats, your different algorithm of your body. And whenever there is abnormalities of any of your parameters, it can automatically propagate a message to your family doctor or a nearby hospital to send you ambulance or a medical help on the spot. And most importantly, what the business case I'm going to talk about in the next couple of minutes is on prosthetic organs. Prosthetic organ, which has been again one of the problem worldwide, globally, has been taken as a challenge. But now I'm sure biotechnological innovations and the kind of device innovations They made this particular vertical as best as possible to give them a big help. So take this business case on artificial organs and prosthetic organs as a hand. Now, if you see the international market, if you see the global scenario altogether, almost 970 millions vision aids are required, and same way somewhere 75 million wheelchairs, and more importantly, 35 million prosthetic hands are required. So market potential is huge, not in terms of business, but again in terms of creating social impact, empowering all those people who really need this desperately. In India, again, 2/3 of the entire populations do have low-income rural areas. More than half of the million amputees are being there who actually require this kind of innovative product and devices in much more affordable cost. Mostly these devices do come from, or they get imported from different countries, and they are quite effective, but it's still beyond reach of the user, the end user. There are two basic reasons: either they are very sensitive, very high tech, or maybe they are highly priced beyond affordability of any of the end user. Developing countries, or any country like India, where more than 500,000 amputees being there, they need something which can really fit in their pocket, but again, give them a sense of real talk type of organ without much of the efforts on the body pressure. Let me share one of the story of a Jaipur startup story, which has been working quite along. They also spent almost 2.5 to 3 years developing this prosthetic hand. And this is world's most functional mechanical prosthetic hand. It can have the rotation and movements in fingers and thumbs for the different applications and activities as a routine. Even your thumb can rotate 80 degrees and 180 degrees your wrist can rotate. And this particular movable thumb rotational wrist self-locking grip gives them a proprietary edge over any of the imported or other countries' prosthetic hand in terms of features and functionality. The best part, self-locking mechanism does not erase any pressure to the human body. It itself takes all the locking system which you can lock once and you can unlock anytime when you like to go further. The flexibility of entire devices, you can eat, you can write, you can even brush, you can do any daily routine work, even opening your Pepsi bottle, or driving a scooter, or even working on your PC. Let me share another 1 minute of beautiful video, which will talk about the kind of applications, activities, entire functionalities of this particular prosthetic hand developed by one of the Jaipur-based startup, very economic cost. It is a video for you. Okay, so any application, any routine, daily life routine, work you can do with the same prosthetic hand. Question comes, as a project, how to go further? What are the unit economics, the raw material, the overall structuring, the framing, casing, casting, and what exactly it costs to the end user? Let me share this business plan metrics for this particular prosthetic hands. This kind of devices, even better than this, can be done with a project cost which varies from 17 18 lakhs to somewhere around 25 lakhs. Now, this project cost of 18 lakhs to 25 lakhs further can be divided in some capital as recurring expenses. Almost 45 to 55% it is taken care by machinery, tools, technology. Normally, polyethylene material is being used. Nowadays, 3D printer has resolved this issue of framing and casting in minimum time and giving the precision in the design. Marketing and logistics takes somewhere around 12 to 20%. Then entire manpower, recurring and any miscellaneous can be taken care by 15 to 25%. Almost on an average, say 20 lakhs, 25 lakhs, you can start this project unit, produce and manufacture prosthetic hand. The best part in today's technology, a lot of substitute and lot of subsidiary vendors and partners are available for the different applications. The tools, the elements, the different items which are mechanical, electrical, which are already present there can be manufactured by different partners, and we can simply procure them at very reasonable cost. Overall project cost may go down if the volumes being taken further. Unit economics is very simple to start with. Manufacturing cost on an average, taking this mattress in hand, is somewhere around 8,350 to somewhere around 10,500. Now this is going to be a variety of different 2-3 models are there. One model may cost you 8.5 thousand, even one model may cost you more than 11,000 based on different features. A lot of scope is there for electrical and AI based functionalities to be added on the same prosthetic hand. Now a lot of chips, self-governed, self-monitored chips being there, they takes care of most of the functionalities once it's being programmed there. Cost may a little bit differ, but it can really work as good as your original hand. Selling price right now for this particular prosthetic hand is somewhere around 12,000 to 17,000. To compare any of the imported prosthetic hand, which is available in India, or even any good, multifunction prosthetic hand from India, the price starts somewhere around 45,000 to 50,000. Imported may go even more than 1 lakhs. So most importantly, world's most functionally, mechanically enabled prosthetic hand in just 10,000 or 11,000 range, which can be reduced further based on different volumes, with a margin of somewhere around 40 to 60%. Initial margins might be a bit of lower because of R&D cost and again the infrastructure cost, but subsequently based on the volume, based on different segments, it can be reduced further. Target audience could be NGOs, hospitals, clinics, and again the end users directly. More importantly, a lot of scope of updation in technology to make this particular prosthetic hand of different functionalities is again in progress. Average number of units, if you take about somewhere around, say, for example, as minimum as 200 or 250 in a year, I'm saying just one or alternately one prosthetic hand could be sold every second alternate day, then revenue of 27 lakhs or 50,000 can be attained in a year. I simply had very calculation of 250 multiplied by 11,000 as a rough figure, which can be a bit of indicative figures again, but almost you get a break even in 12 to 15 months. Any good banker, any good investor, any good financial institute is looking forward. What is the break even? What is the scalability of business? How long it can sustain based on market and demographic conditions, and what technical advancement you can make further so that it can be used in different platforms for the different target audience. If any of product like this in any of the bio entrepreneurs' mind, I'll give a simple example of prosthetic hand. It can be limb, it can be of any, you can replace it by any of other body organ. The unit economics talks about huge potential. If it is done bit of a very calculated and very calculated risk matrix, I'm sure break-even can be done within next 12 to 15 months, and I'm pretty sure that again this is going to be a potential business which any good entrepreneur could take it further. A simple example, the same sort of feature set from Europe, if you just take this prosthetic hand, cost you somewhere around 80,000 rupees. Again, maintenance and servicing and all these hassles will be always there since it's imported. Biotechnology business plans start with something like a project report preparation. And before project report preparation, some of the basic concepts have to be taken into the mindset. Normally, this is what the mistake is a startup always does. You start writing a project report based on financials only, or maybe based on the product development, or based on particular features, or based on some particular needs. But before any project report to start with, I would suggest to write the basic things which start from proof of concept. What is proof of concept? Most important, let's understand yourself. Let's understand your own idea. Let's see how viable this idea. We have seen the technical viability or financial economicity, but practically, what are the parameters making this particular product as a sustainable or scalable product in the market? Start writing from an idea summary, not more than 2 and 3 paragraphs. What basic idea you have it, how you get this idea, what particular problem or challenge is being addressed in that particular idea, and the solution which should have a social impact, and again a revolutionary business model. So these 3 major note is very much important. To start with your project report, but first understand your own ideation, or understand your own validation or process, whether it's being done effect with the market or not. The next most important term is target audience. Identify the right set of target audience. Normally we come across in mentoring sessions, if you ask any good startup whom you are going to sell it, a very common and generic answer is anybody will buy it. It's for all. It's very common. But this somewhere we make a mistake. There's no such product in this world anybody will buy it. Identifying a right target audience is very much necessary. Even demographic characteristics are very much important to understand, age-wise, gender-wise, income-wise, need-wise, taste, attribute, preferences, everything has to be tabulated. Then a filter has to be done which talks about the most efficient prospect list of 100 to whom the entrepreneur is going to sell the very first. We are going to sell to a target audience. What value addition or value proposition your product, service, or a combination of product service is going to deliver? Now, value addition is not simply like a price or a price cut or maybe a cashback. Value addition is something more of like return on investment, ROI. So these basic points have to be tabulated before writing your project report, because these what actually it varies could be from the banker side when you submit your project report without these kind of particular details. So value proposition is very much important to underline in terms of return on investment from the customer end. The baseline, the bottom line, how it will generate revenue. What is the overall business model? How we are going to reach and target our consumer? Is it going to be a B2B, wholesale business, business to business? It is going to be business to consumer, or it could be something like consumer to consumer or integrated platform, or is a combination of direct or offline marketing, or maybe offline or online marketing. A lot of the options being there. The simple advice, do not try to jump in all options. Try to see which is the most low-hanging fruit to start with, and gradually scale it further, different segment of market, so that you get better acceptance of your product. So these 4 or 5 pager proof of concept is very much important to lay down before starting your project report. This becomes the Bible of your project report. These becomes the most important crucial bullet pointers on which your project report can explain further to a banker and give them a confidence, yes, this is going to be a sustainable and scalable model. Writing a financial plan is again very much important. It's more of like an art. Knowing finance doesn't mean that a good financial plan can be drafted. Basically, there are 2 types of expenses, capital and operating. They have to be made in separate sheet right from beginning. Always give 3 to 5 years of projections in terms of expenses, capital and operating, revenues, sales, and again the profit and deficit. Projection of sales and revenues, we always advise, has to be as realistic and best possible practical. It should not be very hypothetical or something looks like out of box or fantasy project report. Even though sometimes we have seen the idea is fantastic, idea is disruptive, but the financials is being done in such a way that it does not justify the kind of projection they have been giving. So any entrepreneur has to talk about very practically what exactly is looking from the market in terms of sales revenue or maybe some profitability and break-even point. So these pointers are actually missing in most of the project reports we come across or most of the business plan, and they simply write more of like a plain vanilla flavor, or sometime they download a Google template and start filling the data in that. It does not give a good impression altogether. Understanding break-even point is very much important. I'm sure Dr. Singh is here and any of the good bankers are going to talk about when a break-even point will be achieved. Break-even is nothing but your total cost and total revenues are actually meeting at a point when you start making profits. Understanding break-even is very much important. I have come across a very smart questions from banker nowadays. They are not asking the break-even point in terms of time duration. What they're asking, how many units you will sell to achieve your break-even. Imagine you're submitting a project report and a banker is asking, how many units will create a break-even for you? It's very much important to understand the break-even point formula also, in terms of not only the time duration that you will get break-even in 12 months or 15 months, but again, how many units are required to create a break-even description in your business plan. Again, this formula is there in the appendix. Offline, if there is a query, we'll be happy to resolve and take it further.